So let's take a recap on the IGCSE Business Studies May-June 2021 session, paper 11, question 1. So this question 1 talks about the BKH. BKH, you've already identified the big ideas, the big concepts, and those words, okay, those underlined words we're done when it comes to the explanation. Now let's proceed on the questions itself. So the first question for one, okay, question 1A is define public sector. So you have the word define. Define means you have to give the meaning. And as you can see there's number 2, okay? Number 2 means 2 points. So how are you going to get 2 points? That's the objective in any, IG exams. How are you going to get the 2 points? Of course, you need to give the meaning of a public sector. So, as I've told you before, public is related with government. So there are 2 possible answers for you to get 2 points. Public sector, government or state-owned businesses or organization. Remember, the word state, okay, is synonymous. Okay, the word state is similar, related with the government. Or, of course, the simpler definition is it is a part of the economy controlled by state or government. Now, take note, you can use the other words, other synonym for controlled. Okay, it is a part of the economy. Okay, take note of the word economy, run by state or government. It is a part of the economy, run, RUNNED, by a state. Okay, it is a part of the economy controlled by the government. 1B, you have to define again. This one is a profit. What is a profit? Take note, there are at least 4 potential answers. If you're going to look at the first, it's kind of technical. It is the amount of money left after all costs have been subtracted from revenue. So simply, it's going to be total revenue minus the total cost. That's the simplest definition of a profit. Okay, total revenue. Take note, make sure you have the word total. Don't ever write revenue minus cost. No, you have the word total. Total revenue minus total cost. It is the surplus, okay, after total cost deducted from sales revenue. Now, look at the words subtracted and deducted. They are similar. You can use it, okay? You can use a minus as well, okay? Gross profit minus expenses. It can be that answer. But of course, if you don't have time to study it and you want, the simplest, you can just write total revenue minus the total cost. Next, the next question, okay, 1C, is identify 4 ways to measure the size of a business. Okay, how are you going to measure the business? And as you can see here, 4 ways, meaning to say 1 point each. So you will get 4 points for answering question letter C. You are going to identify. So it's just like enumeration part, okay? Enumeration part. For you to measure the size of the business, you need to identify the revenue, the value, okay? You can say the revenue or the value of output or the sales value. Another way to measure the business is the market share. If market share is bigger than the rest of the competitors, then it means that your company is successful. Market share also, we talk about it here in the marketing part of the business studies. So for example, like there are five shawarmas in your place, okay, and 50% of the market is, you know, the shawarma number one. They are the shawarma number one is popular than the rest of it, then that's the idea of the market share. Okay. Way number three is you can measure the size of the business uh, when it comes to the number of employees or workers. So if there are, BKH has how many? Yeah, more than 2,000, or yeah, more than, yeah, it's 2,000. Yeah, 2,000 employees, then it means that that business is huge. And of course, the number of outlets, the number of offices. So the more number of offices, then it means that the business is large. So BKH is, of course, the size of that BKH is large. Next, okay, you've got the word explain. So if you see the word explain, then you need to enumerate, identify, what else? Give details. Okay, so it means that you need to really um, jot down important words, ideas in your answer. So explain one way each stakeholder's objectives might conflict with BKH objective to increase the profit. Remember, um, each stakeholder each stakeholder has objectives. Okay, so in any business organization, they have to make sure that all stakeholders will benefit from all the changes or all the objectives change. So for example, okay, so the customer's objective, okay, is for them to have to buy the products with lower prices with high quality because they value money when buying insurance. That is the objective of the customers. They have, if they're going to buy the insurance, okay, they will buy it in a very low price with a high quality. That's the objective. That's the target of any customer. Now, with this kind of objective, of course, there will be some problems in other stakeholders. Okay, so when you lower the insurance prices, then the revenue will be lower as well. And if the revenue will be lower, then it means that there will be decrease of profits. Again, when we say profits again, we all know that you need to subtract it with the revenue, total revenue minus the total costs, right? So when we say revenue, we are talking about here, um, revenue is the income of the business from the sale of the products. Again, revenue is the income of the business from sale of the products in a period of time. Okay, or simply, revenue is the price times the quantity sold. Okay, so if the price is low, then of course there will be the reduction of the revenue, and it might lead into the decrease of the profits because because it requires more than 2,000 employees and more than 18 locations to give high quality customer service. Okay, so if there will be more than 2,000 employees, then it means that the cost will be higher. There will be increase of cost. So there is an effect over the profits. And of course, it will conflict even more because if the profits will be decreased, then what will happen to the salary of the employees? Okay, what about the other stakeholder groups? So that is the definite answer. There's another one, the employee's objective. Um, the employee's objective, okay, the workers' objective is security of the job, okay? They want job satisfaction, and if they have the job satisfaction, then um, there's more motivation to work. But then again, if that's the mindset, that's the target of any employee, there's also a conflict because remember the takeover. Remember that incident about the manager who's planning to have a takeover. Once there's a takeover coming from another stakeholder's decision, then employees will expect for higher payment, okay, or regular payment monthly. And if there will be the higher payment, then there's the increase of job security and training. Then if there will be job security and training, then the effect of this will be the higher costs. And who will affect if the costs will be higher? It will affect the customer too, because the management decision is to increase the prices because employees want motivation, and the only way for the employees or the workers to have motivation is getting some training, getting some good job security, getting some higher pay, because there's the idea of the takeover. Okay, so that will lead with the higher costs. So again, if the costs or what we call the expenses would be higher, definitely all the stakeholders will be affected. Again, if any company, okay, any businesses which have this increase of cost and lower revenue, then it will have a great effect on the company's stakeholder groups. Now, and last, okay, for letter E, I think this one is 6 points also. Do you think economies of scale are the most important reason for taking over another business? So you got the idea of the takeover. Remember, a big company would purchase a small company. Okay, a very successful company would um, would would buy a weak company. So it's the survival of the fittest. But then you've got this another idea, another concept of economies of scale. So I will give you a very quick explanation for this. So economy of scale are the factors that lead to the reduction of costs. Okay, how are you going to decrease the costs? Okay, as a business increases the level of production. Always remember that there's a big effect if you will lower the costs, if you will lower the expenses. If you will lower the expenses, then it means the prices will be lower. Then if the prices will be lower, then the demand for your product will increase. There will be the increase of sale, then there will be the huge market share because people will patronize your product because the price is low. Okay? Another, if the expenses or the cost is low, then of course there will be the increase of the profit margin, which leads into increase of profits. Always take note that the formula for profit margin, okay, as a percentage is profit divided by revenue times 100. So again, those are the two effects of lowering the average cost. Now, how are you going to make sure that the output increases, okay, but the costs or expenses decreases? How are you going to have that economies of scale? Okay, number one is You can buy a very expensive, high quality equipment, and you will use that equipment for the mass production. Okay, so for example, I'm going to buy in my office a very high tech um, printer, and that printer can survive, can last for 10 to 20, um, 20 years. So the idea here is you buy a very expensive one and you will use it long term. Okay. Another is if you're going to invest on research and development from the very beginning of your business, you can use it for your marketing research. Okay, because the what's this the whatever research that you will get, you will benefit it in the future. Okay. Another is the accessibility to make more sources of income. Okay. You can decrease the cost by going to the bank and have some loan. Okay, a bank loan, as long as you will get more income. How are you good income? Okay. Another is buying materials in bulk. Okay, so that you can access the discounts. Okay, the more I'm talking about here the factors of production. Buying materials in bulk, land. Okay, so the materials that you will use. Okay, make it as by bulk. Then of course you will have some discounts on buying it if you will purchase it a lot. And of course, if you're going to operate in more than one market, so from being a niche market, you will turn your market into a mass market. uh, that will reduce the costs. Again, economies of scale is the idea that these are the factors wherein the cost will decrease. How can the cost or the expenses decreases, okay, but the production or the level output increases? Okay, so in this question, do you think economies of scale are the most important reason for the takeover? Now, uh, and justify the answer. So here's a very simple, and you can expand, okay, your answer. Okay, so the plan of BKH is taking over another insurance company. Okay, uh, might be one of the objectives of the business. But then again, you have to make sure that that not to make sure, but it's one of the objectives. Okay, taking over of another insurance company might be one of the objectives to remove its competitor so that there's the increase in the market share. Because if BKH will be the only insurance company in the whole market, then of course the market share is only with them. If this will happen, then there's a possibility to purchase or to buy economies of scale. Okay, and if they buy the economies of scale, the techniques that I have given to you earlier, it can lead to lower costs. It can lead with lower expenses and could allow lower prices, and in the end there will be, of course, profit. So that is the end of the question number 1, paper 11, May June 2021 session. I'm going to give you the other part this week. So take care and take safe.